Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by. I know I'm doing something a little bit different to what I've usually done, but this is a very important discussion that we actually do need to have especially if I'm going to come back to doing Destiny content, like I've said. Or I hope the video's out by now, but yeah, the very important topic. I'm running a little bit off the script, but it's like more bullet points, so I will and ah here and there, but it's going to be a lot less than if I was doing the entire video unscripted. And I can tell you now, this script is huge before we get into it. Um, I've cut it down to sections. I should time stamp it or use chapters on YouTube. So if you want to look for a certain part, go to the chapters. But anyway, I hope you guys end up agreeing with me and can add to this discussion, because I see a lot of people right now are calling for a D3, and I'm one of them. Right, so we're going to start off with issues that are in Destiny 2. And I just realised I've said this, but I read it as anyways. Yes, great start of my script. Oh yeah, let's get to my first few points. Because D2 has so many issues with it, and some of these aren't going to overlap with other people, but not all of them. That's going to be a bit of a theme here. I'm going to try and delve into stuff, and I do go a bit more in detail at later parts. I probably need to stop throwing my hands up in front of my face as well when speaking. But anyway, our first point is people are leaving the game. You can obviously tell the player base has just plummeted compared to what it used to be. Like generally the PvP is dead, Gambit is dead, Vanguard Strikes. I was trying to get footage of ops. I was spending half my time in loading. It's dead. The portal doesn't help with this, but I will get to that. I don't know. The game is just really stale at the moment, and I will mention some of the other issues that are coming up in a second with this, but I just wanted to get over and out in the clear. Like the game is not dead to the point where like no one's playing, but like it feels like it. Everything feels empty. And then this kind of goes into our second point. Like people aren't gonna want to come back, because why would they? There's so many negative connotations with Destiny 2 at this point. It's horrible, and this is one of my reasons as to why I think there should be a Destiny 3. It would very much help with kind of like bringing a breath of fresh air into for people, being like, okay, cool. It may be a Destiny game. Ooh, I dropped out at like let's say for me, for example, like I dropped out during the episodes. Kind of wish I didn't, because actually turns out Heretic was really good. But like I needed a break, and it ended up being like a massive break that it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be just I'll come back in the first DLC, and then I got distracted on my own little stuff. But a lot of people were like, well, why would I come back? They've sunsetted content that I did own, that I've paid for. They got rid of stuff that I actually kind of want to do, and now I've got to go pay for these massive DLCs. Well, these DLCs again, or like new DLCs. This also doesn't help with like changing platforms. Like for myself, I've got over the PC. If I want to play Destiny with all my DLCs, I have to buy an Xbox until I get the DLCs over on PC, and that's expensive to do for like almost a third time now, because I've done it on PS4 as well. But okay, that's just a taste of what some of these issues are going to be, and I need to highlight where I am. It was like, sorry about stumbling there. Getting used to probably should have left the game, but onto our second Shadow Keep. Yeah, Beyond Light. This game is that was about the same amount of content. That this will go to my next point. We would have been okay. The game's huge. I understand if it would have just on Steam. It's 143 gigabytes. I just checked, and on Xbox it's around 130. So I assume Beyond Light could have been PC. Stasis would have been brand new as well. This game is insanely huge. It would have been, not say a lot of games are now really good way to sell a new game, but we're in a RAM shortage, which is then affected that like normal storage to buy doomed us ever since. I can't remember the outcome, if it's still going on, with the lawsuit that they're going through. Like everything's on hold, going through. Like a memory, a terabyte, but it does start. It seems like that in content just like $40. That's horrific. And that's you can go back and play Destiny 1. You can play every DLC, every story version. Also, only thing you have to do trials install a game. That's huge. Maybe, like because if they don't like it, like Sparrow want to play 2 games at once, but you still have half the storage probably. This is what D3 would be. If you have a 500 gig system, your content back for just that's most likely unrealistic. Taken. we could at least
And
then
that's,
go
like,
over to
without all
Destiny
the
3
DLC,
and be like,
because
okay,
DLCs
fresh
you
start
on
again.
Xbox, you have to install
All our content
separately. It's
again,
insane.
and they now
But
know.
then that goes on my
Do not
next point
get
as
rid
well,
of this
where
from us.
there's
If
7
it was like
DLCs
seasonal
in this
content,
game.
we're okay with that. But even then, it's
D1,
like,
mind
do
you,
we
had
want seasonal content?
3 DLCs.
No, sorry,
Four
4
DLCs
that we have to keep
and a
losing this
vanilla
content.
campaign.
And then we
I
went on to D2. Can't see the game going on if we
That
just lose.
wasn't
parts
that
of it
bad for
again.
size. Like, you had enough content you could mess around in. And then we went over D2, and it was like, okay, we probably should have left the game at either like Shadowkeep or Beyond Light. That was about the same amount of content. We would have been okay. I understand they would have just held out until Beyond Light. Perfect. Could have gone over Beyond Light. Could have been a new game. Stasis would have been brand new to us as well. Whatever else, but like it would have been a really good way to sell a new game, and didn't have to do all the sunsetting. That content vault has doomed us ever since. I can't remember the outcome if it's still going on for the lawsuit that they're going through to do with it or were going through, but it does. It seems like that content just doesn't exist anymore. That's horrific. You can go back and play Destiny 1, you can play every DLC, every story mission. Only thing you can't really do, Trials and Iron Banner, and then maybe like SLL, like Sparrow Racing League and stuff. But you still have it there. This is what a D3 would be. It'd be like, okay, yeah, we probably aren't getting all the D2 content back before. Yeah, that's most likely unrealistic. But we could at least then go over to Destiny 3 and be like, okay, fresh start, we're getting all our content again, and they now know, do not get rid of this from us. If it was like a seasonal content, we're okay with that, but even then it's like, do we really want seasonal content? Yeah, horrible that we have to keep losing this content, and I can't see the game going on if we just lose parts of it again. Kind of carrying on with the whole theme of, oh, there's so much, like, there's a lot of DLCs now, which is lovely for the sake of, oh, you got a lot of stuff you can do. It also means, oh my god, I just realised, yeah, I didn't even count like 30th anniversary pack. Okay, that's just really off topic, really quick. Well, not off topic, like just really quick on that. Anniversary pack as well, that costs still $30 or something like that. That's insane. Also, high cost to come into the game if you're new. But what I was going with is, for new and returning players, such as myself, it's overwhelming. The portal's changed how the game looks if you're returning. Probably fine if you're new because you don't really know what it looked like beforehand. You weren't used to things. But like, there's so much stuff, and the game doesn't really guide you. Yeah, this would be useful if we just had a better new light system, but what we want to do, there isn't that. And if you've already done new light and you're coming over because you're returning, you're just gonna be like, well, where do I start? Lord forbid you've missed multiple DLCs. You have to go buy them, but you're also not sure like what comes with them, so you might not understand dungeon packs or whatever. And then you have to go through it and be like, okay, my inventory is full of random stuff. Go to your inventory and like your resources inventory. You'll probably have tons of stuff in there that like either you don't need anymore, or just stuff that like just fills up. And you're like, well, I don't want to get rid of half this stuff, but it's there. It's confusing. You don't know what's what, and it takes a while to get used to. Like kind of an MMO thing, but like Destiny 2's just got horrific for it, and it's even worse. Like, it was really bad back when we had seasons and we're getting to 4 seasons and we're on the last one, but at least that disappeared then. Now it's kind of stuck with us, which, yes, it's a loss to a win of like, yeah, we get to keep content sometimes, but you end up having all the stuff. A new game means empty bloody inventory, we can just restart there. Over it, like, which then just means backgroups back. Even return players gets worse every year. There's no reason to grind loops. That's even worse with that. They are insane consistently. Because it's in, you'd have to have generally around Beyond Light for the you to like have a reason to grind loop. From D1 I can go in my vault, to D2, I can see and then from D2 5 or 6 weapons with the same god rolls. What is going to make me or anyone else go second or third DLC unless you're the collections and you want to go overpowered? But this has been like, because I'm going to sit there and be like, almost, well, like, it's got plus one stat. I wasn't there for like, am I going to really spend 18 hours grinding like some stupid game mode for it? No. And now the weapon has to have insane power over it. And
which then just means power creep.
the only people that shows on the grind.
And it gets
are
worse every
new
year
players.
because certain things are power crept. Look at lightsabers now; they are insane. I don't know. It is generally incredible just how much power our characters have got from D1 to D2, and then from D2 to like Forsaken, and then so on again. It just gets worse every I'd say every second or third DLC we seem to get like overpowered, but this has been like back to back, almost. Like I wasn't there for like Edge of Fate, so I don't know what the meta was like, but at least in like final shape going into like, and now it's still insane. And
the only people that shows on the grind are new players.
Anyone who
D2
claims it
raid
on any
that's
platform
remastered that's got the age
owns
track armor,
like
what
that, they
Crota?
own permanently.
But
Not the,
Crota then doesn't
the
have
2 week
the original
player
armor.
that you get every once in a
So
while.
it's
You can
the
go play
only
in
one
the
where it's like,
they
well, they
permanently
might
have
have
to
to
go
go such an
point
old
in
DLC
the
original armor for D2,
and it's like,
well, as the ornament,
surely
which
Bungie
isn't
aren't
as
running
appealing,
it,
but it's still new
why
armor
not
to get, well, ornaments to
let
get.
new players
And for like
or
for
returning players
armor is amazing.
who haven't
So
picked
is
it up
King's
for
Fall.
whatever reason
Like
have
oh
it.
my
That
God,
would
I
give them
do anything
access
to have those
to a
ornaments
story
back in
mission
D2.
or a set a few story
great.
missions. It's not that long.
Do any of you remember Age
Then it
Triumph
would also
for
give
the
them
SB1? What and what that brought for the raids?
Deathbringer,
It allowed us to
Xenophage,
get new ornaments
and also
Divinity.
Divinity weapons that were, well, it might have been
think
all
there
the weapons
isn't
in
a
a
exotic, but like
free
free
helmet
quests.
exotics.
No, it was definitely some because
We
I
were
don't think
dungeon,
that's
like I
been
said,
got an
and
exotic
raid.
version.
That is not the
For
hardest of dungeons to do.
Anyway, yeah. So it's pretty easy
It
to
would allow
get
for you to
into
start
doing
having
dungeon stuff. Like, come on,
And if you've already
and you
done
could-
like prophecy in that, it's just
they
another one
could
for you to go do,
reuse, which is
that
always
keeps
fun. You could get
And then
exotic versions of Sally's
Another
Bane.
option they could do is also like
What if they did
anniversary
that
pack
now for Last
that
Wish? You
could
could
become
get
free on like the
whatever
next
the pulse rifle is called,
anniversary
exotic
for Bungie.
instead. It makes sense.
Or
It's
$30 still.
But they didn't
And
do
what do
the
you get?
weapons.
Desert
They just do the
Eternity,
ornaments.
which who plays
King's
that?
Fall. You now
And
use King's
a
Fall
dungeon.
for D2.
An okay dungeon.
Don't get me wrong.
The armor in that,
But it's not
yeah,
that replayable.
it's nice. It's the original
It's
D1.
not worth
King's Fall
$30 just to basically
There
do it
was
for
Age of
few guns.
That have
It'd
been
be interesting
PvP.
for people to do. I guess the
You
sniper
could
is
try
like
and
add like
Harrowed
okay
mode,
PvP still.
Harrowed,
Like, it's in the PvP.
or not,
So I don't know
they
what
don't
it
really
stands,
change.
but like having like King's
And then
Fall,
like you have Harrowed in
Galhorn, Volk,
kind
you
of it.
have time lost weapons, something like that. That could also
Or,
be
like,
free. Just new perks for
it would
these.
not
instead
really
of
make that
huge
big of a
marathons,
difference.
surely. But after that, who knows?
But then that kind of leads me to my next
But
point because I was
this
thinking
is
about
my-
all this.
this-
Like,
we're going
okay,
by like point stuff.
if they do that,
My
that's good
first
for
point
new
is a
players.
DLC
but
like
how
Shadowkeep
is it going to
could be
help
given
the
out free
attention
for a
of
couple months,
older
say, like,
players?
There's a
They've
4 month
done
span or something
that
content already.
Where anyone who claims
And
it
that's why
on
I
any
think
platform,
dungeons which haven't already
Owned.
had a master mode. Same goes for
like
raids.
that, they own it
But like,
permanently.
if
Not
they
like
haven't had the 2 week master
player
player
that you
already
get
made,
every once in a while we can
they
go play
should
anything.
add it.
They permanently own
Because
this.
it's such an
It
old
would allow
DLC
for like a
now,
bit of fresh,
and it's like fresh air. Be
surely
Bungie
implemented
aren't
into
hunting anything
these.
off it, and
Why
like,
not
into this content?
let
New
new
players
players
to try out,
or returning players
and then for stuff like Pit of
who
Heresy,
haven't picked it up
I
for
don't.
whatever
I
reason
think
have
Prophecy
it.
did
That
get a
would
title
give them
eventually,
access
but,
to a story mission
Prophecy-
or a set
not-
of few
yeah,
story missions.
Shadow
It's
Throne,
not that
Pit of
long.
Heresy. Yes, they have.
Then it would
triumphs
also
that
give
help you
them
get other
what?
titles.
Why
Why not give them their own
Death
title?
Bringer,
I don't know
Xenophage,
what they would be,
and
but
Divinity.
that's, I'm not here to name the title. I think there is another exotic.
They could
like,
honestly
free
do that.
quests.
It'd give players a
Exotics.
reason to rerun them a few times.
With a dungeon, like
At
I said,
le- like
and a raid, at least 3 times.
That is
probably.
if you've
Not
not
the
done
hardest
no,
of
if you
dungeons
have
to
done
do.
solo flawless,
So it's pretty easy to get
which
you
is great.
into doing dungeons.
more reason to play
And
it.
if you've
If
already
not,
done
like,
just prophecy in that,
it's
something
just
like
another one
refresh
for
the
you to go
loot
do.
pool, add some new perks,
Which is always fun.
I know they're
and
pretty good
then
at throwing origin traits and stuff.
Another option they could do is also
I
like
can't
anniversary
remember
pack.
if
Pit
that
of Heresy
could
did
become
become
free
free
on
on
like the next. I know Shadowthrone did
anniversary,
but they
for
could do
Bungie.
that. It makes sense.
Yeah. It's $30
Which is the reason
still.
why I was-
Yeah.
And what do you get? Desert
Exclusive
Eternity,
title,
which
great
who
little
plays
start.
that?
But like,
And
what else can
a
be done
dungeon.
other than new titles? And
There's no
maybe
key dungeon.
like
Don't get me
actually
wrong.
possibly emblems,
But it's
for
not
like
that
the master
replayable.
mode could drop a new emblem.
It's not worth
That's a
$30
one-time thing.
just
You're
to
not
basically do it for a few
running
guns
it twice for that.
that have been
Unless
powered
you're
up.
like helping someone
I
else
guess
get
the
it.
sniper is like
But yeah, what else
okay
could you do
PvP
then?
still? Like it's
for
for
these
these
dungeon
dungeons, they
raids?
don't really change.
And I
And
sat
then,
here
like,
thinking,
what?
so wrong this
Galhorn?
morning
It's kind of it.
when I should have been asleep.
Thinking of what we can do. That could also be free.
Obviously, there's
New master modes
not
for
really
raids
that big of a
that
difference.
don't have
surely.
it. Deep Stone Crypt, Last Wish.
But then that kind of leads me
Off
to
my
my
next
next
point.
point.
So
So
Salvation, thinking
Through
about all this, like,
off the top of my head,
okay,
do not have.
if they do that, that's good for new players, but how
Raids,
is it going to help
yeah,
retention
Master
of
Mode is
older
probably
players
getting played that much,
who've done,
I don't know if it's not
that
epic mode
content
already,
already,
but like they don't have,
and
to
that's
have
why
new
I
mechanics.
think just dungeons
Honestly,
just
haven't
make
already
it
had
more
a master
challenging.
mode. Same goes for raids.
But
Like,
if
if
they
they
haven't
haven't
had
had
people do
master mode
you could
already
try and
made,
add like Harrow
they should
mode,
add it.
Harrow,
Because
I don't know what it'd be classed, but
would
like
allow for like a
having
bit
like
of
King's Full, you
fresh,
have Harrow,
Freya
be implemented
involved,
into
you
these
have
time lost weapons,
like
into
into
this content
for
for
players
just
to try
new
out.
perks for these instead.
And then for stuff like
if you
Pit of
got
Heresy,
that mode,
I don't. I think
great.
Pross actually did
something
get
like
to it
that
eventually,
but
but
honestly, just
Pross
allow
shout out
the
for
raiding scene to
Pit of
have something to
Heresy.
do again.
Yes, they have
Because
triumphs that
it's
help you get
running a bit
other
dry.
titles.
It
Why
looks
not give them
rough
their
out
own
there
title?
if you aren't in a group that constantly raids or just doing Sherpas. And the Sherping, like this teaching side of raids is gone. People seem so rough about it. But anyway, where I was going with this point originally was, do any of you remember Age of Triumph for Destiny 1 and what that brought for the raids? It allowed us to get new ornaments, and also for some of the weapons that were, well, it might have been all the weapons in a raid, to become exotic. No, it was definitely some, because I don't think Black Spindle got an exotic version in D1 through that. Anyway, yeah. It would allow for you to start having stuff like come up, and you could, they could, we use King's Fall. You could get exotic versions of Sally's Bane back in the day. What if they did that now for Last Wish? You could get whatever the pulse rifle is called, exotic, instead. Or even if they didn't do the weapons, they just do the ornaments. King's Fall, we now use King's Fall for D2. The armor now, yeah, it's nice. It's the original D1 King's Fall armor. There was Age of Triumph armor. The only D2 raid that was remastered that's got the Age of Triumph armor was Crota. But Crota then doesn't have the original armor. So it's the only one where it's like, well, they might have to go putting in the original armor for D2 as the ornament, which isn't as appealing, but it's still new armor to go, well, ornaments to go get. And for like Vogue, the armor was amazing. So was King's Fall. Like, oh my god, I would do anything to have those ornaments back in D2. It'd be great. If this, like, let's say they announce tomorrow that this is going to happen for those 3 raids either. Rudiger, say Wrath, if they ever do bring back Wrath. But, 2 raids, like they could 2 dungeons. Armor 4 dungeons through 2 raids and a dungeon even would do. Even just raids. Amazing. Okay, cool. And then what I'd recommend for them to do at the start. Also, I don't know how they can time gate it through making it go like you've got to run the just for players' sake. It'd be amazing if the challenge when it starts happening. If this let's say they announce tomorrow that this is going to happen once per character. Rudiger say like so you get 3 drops, 2 raids, cool, and 2 dungeons. Time gated. It's going to take a while. 2 raids by the time the season's over. You'll have a new raid to go do. Okay, cool. We've got multiple things we can go do. For people that have missed it, they can always try and go back. They can time gate it. Maybe don't make it random. Maybe make it separate. You've got to run the master mode, and you've got to do random because there's going to be multiple challenge for that week on master with to have a drop. If they could manage to keep up, say, like, so you get 3 drops, 1 season, like, cool, you finish that season where you got 2 raids, it's going to take a while. Next up is, by the time the season's over, a dungeon and you'll just have to go down the 1 to go do it, and maybe, yeah, it's going to be disappointing, and then a little bit for some people, but if they try and explain at the very start, that's what they're doing. Maybe don't make it random, maybe begin with, and then it goes down to 1 per season. It could be random because there's going to be multiple pieces, because it still gives you something to go hunt, but something to go with that after, I know at least, I would love to have managed to keep up, say, artifact power again, 1 season, like go do you finish that season where you got 2 raids and a dungeon. It was in the game. Next up is a dungeon and a raid. Just go down to 1 each. Yeah, it's gonna be disappointing a little bit for some people, but if they explain at the very start that's what they're doing, that you're getting 2 to begin with, and then it goes down to 1 per season, don't think people will be that mad, because it still gives you something to go hunt, something to go do. I know at least I would love to have a reason to actually grind up artifact power again and go do that if it was in the game and bring it back. Going back to the point I've made earlier, a little bit of like the content vault. I honestly easily bring back the raids every other season. Bring back every third season. Layers, even if needs be. Amazing. Yes, they're gonna have to try and remake
Worlds
stuff for the
and
engine,
Spyro
do
weren't
stasis and strand,
Worlds was terribly
charismatic
short.
because they weren't used to
So
that.
if they
Increase the health on the boss,
and it's gonna have to be made.
maybe.
But
if the content
add a new
isn't
mechanic
deleted or something, they should go back and bring it
like
back.
something to do in that first
Like,
encounter,
just
so you're not doing just
what?
hops. Well,
I would take
is it
the
for
raid,
yeah.
lair even
Do something
every
like that.
season or every third season.
Something
It
like that.
might actually make it somewhat bearable to
Yeah.
run multiple
Each
times.
of Worlds and Spyro Stars weren't long.
It's probably my most
Each of Worlds was
no,
terribly
I
short.
think I shared. It was like my second
But
most
if they
upload rate compared
increase
to
the health
Vault of Glass
on
on
the boss,
remaster.
just maybe
Why not bring that stuff back?
add
It's
a new
not a lot
mechanic
or something.
maybe make like 2 new
Like,
weapons
something
or
to do
something
in that
and
first
just
encounter,
don't bother
so
about
you're
making
not
a
doing
lot
just
of them
hops,
because
well, oh well,
it's
it's
a
a
new
weapon
weapon
for
for
a very old piece of content.
do something like that.
Or even,
Oh my
actually,
god,
with that,
it
it
might
might actually make
general
it somewhat
and just
bearable
make
to run multiple
loophole,
times.
like make perks for these guns.
It's probably my most sure. No, I'll share it. It was like my second most
do not
upload
have
rate
this
compared
game anymore
to
unless
Vault
you
of
play
Glass remaster.
up until season of Rivals.
Why not
Anyone
bring
that
that
joined
stuff
afterwards,
back? It's not a lot.
just wouldn't have even had a chance.
Maybe
to
made like 2 new weapons.
They
or
might not
something
even know about them
just
if they
don't
aren't
bother about making a law for them
included
because
online.
oh well, it's a new weapon for a very old piece of content. Or even actually with that, you could just bring back in general and just make loophole make perks for these guns. Like people do not have this gear anymore unless you play back like up until season of Rivals. Anyone that joined afterwards just wouldn't have even had a chance to do them. They might not even know about them if they aren't that clued in online.
For the last point I'm gonna have in this section, and it's the biggest wish, and it is really a wish because I know it probably won't ever happen, or at least not for a long time, would be a Destiny 1 remaster with a PC port, because it's kind of got to be a PC port. But there isn't actually that much needed at all change, and like there's a few quality of life things like launching missions from wherever you are, like say you're standing in tower, being able to launch a mission or like load straight into Crucible, or I could see them cut out Crucible and be like, no, it's just a story. There's not going to be that much of the online aspect. You can do raids, you can do story, but there you go. Or like strikes. But I would hope they keep Crucible because D1 Crucible is interesting. But yeah, being able to launch something from like tower like we can now, and with that also comes the idea of like, could they bring the maps? Because when you click on a planet, you see the map. Even in D1, but you couldn't bring it up unless you had like a Google on your phone or something, and you looked it up to see where you were or where to go. Yeah, it kind of like means people can't do gold chest videos the same way, but you could. It's just different, and it's such a simple little thing. And then like replaying Destiny 1 lately, oh my god, that they need to bring Clamber in if they make remaster. Unless this one's like they're making a very authentic remaster, just a graphical upgrade, then yeah, sure, don't have it. But like, oh, please, Clamber. Especially like the way I'm playing our Warlock, the way Warlocks jump in D1 is so. They're notoriously bad for jumping in general, but like they're so much worse in D1. Clamber would be just a godsend. But yeah, I understand this is a extreme ask for Bungie. And one of the things I was looking at that could help them like somewhat lower the like time it would take and difficulty would be, this could be the chance to get rid of old generation console support. Just go, nope, it's only for new gen and it's PC. Like, yeah, PC is always an issue because there's so many specs your like PC could be, so they have to work around that. But get rid of old gen, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox One S and X, get rid of those. Then you've got less you've got to deal with. You aren't going to be as limited. And then alongside this, I did write down, it'd be a shame, but I'm okay with sacrificing about 10%, say, of the common, uncommon, and rare quality stuff like armor weapons. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in rare weapons in Destiny 1 and some of the armor, like, was amazing. They looked insane, and some of them actually had pretty fun perks. But just if they go, well, you have to sacrifice this if you want it to come out so much quicker and in a good shape because it's less to like game balance and check. Sure, whatever, I'll take it. If it meant we got a remaster, insane. Plus, if they do cut off old gen console support, they don't have to do that. Like, they can then go, well, this is now the standard. We're going to be doing that for Destiny 3. Oh, finally, on to the next point, and this is going to be what is needed and could also happen for D3. I am very sorry that this video is getting quite long. I'm going to try and get through this bit a lot quicker, but there's also a lot here that I do want to talk about, and some of it I have gone a bit into depth with. I really want to start this section talking about the story. If we go there, and a little bit of this is going to be kind of going off what I've said. Leave our solar system for more, like more interesting long-term stories, and not for a whole solar system for sort of thing. Like, it'd be amazing to leave kind of probably say stuff like the Dream City. Like, I used to want to say Reese. Is there? I would have loved to see it after Whirlwind. Whirlwind and what Drifters. After Revenant, it seems like Big Rock. It has been at least now for a while. Like, going through that. No, that'd be very interesting. I want to actually see what happens. Fly out of our system. Eris is meant to go back and fix it up. Yeah. Well, who knows? She might find Artemis script. Destiny 3 is the perfect time if we do go back. Like, if we want to leave the system, go back. Why not do it now? Whilst we have a chance to do a new story, like more interesting long-term stories, and not for a Portal sort of thing, or like you could kind of probably say stuff like the Dream City is like, it's not like. It's there, but it's also like different, or like going for the Drifters, whatever it's called, the Big Rock. I can't remember its name off the top of my head. Like going for that. No, I want to like actually fly out of our system. But yeah, what I want to say, I need to read my script. Destiny 3 is the perfect time for this as well. Like, if we want to leave the system, why not do it now, whilst we have a chance to do a new story? Like I just said, we probably aren't going to go to we can't have it easy, but what we could do, also have, and this is definitely a bit that I know Box said, and probably which is what actually we could go help Empress Sky's first in the fight against the Hive, regain her people's homeland on Torah Battle, as being a British person, which is London. Actually, I'm going to add to that. Golden Age Dungeon, I haven't read Samanos, but like we could see Hive down in the properly due to obviously that was kind of what was happening to Armin in the Shadowkeep, but we could properly see one now. We know he's in the house because it fight against Season and Splicer. And it carries on to see the story. Also, we're not going to fight him. We could probably go find interesting to see them come into the story and be like, that they've like properly taken over for what I've done, because we know they exist. We know there's suns be the new thing for the Vex. It's a proper and like Vex combat built around drone, and that allows us to finally get some new enemies out of it. A few of them as bosses, and not always for the sake of getting a new race. I would love a new race. Actually, we could find a race that's fighting the Vex, and that's how we find them, and they end up being our enemy as well. And then, but with the Vex in general, also it's probably the easiest. There's other places that are like a new enemy type, and if we don't go far from our system, we got Wyverns in the past that we know about. And if I think Wyverns were the like first non-building about is Chicago frame that we found. Be a swampy Wyvern might still be classed as building frames. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I probably should look it up, but it's a bit of a difficult thing for me to find. I think probably. That's really bad on my behalf. I was tired writing the script, sorry. But like every other Vex, the Hobgoblins, the Goblins, Harpies, that's all a building frame apparently. What if we got to see an actual drone, like an actual fighting or combat one? It'd be insane. They could be our new, like the new major for a Vex, like a difficult boss instead of a champion. You get that kind of like how the Hive Guardians work or Tormentors. This could just be the new thing for the Vex. It's a proper combat drone. We'd have to find them commonly because of them being a major. We could get them, a few of them as bosses. It'd be really interesting to finally have something like that that's actually in the game, because we know they exist. We just haven't seen one. And then going on to the next point, also you said about Torah Battle and Release. There's other places that I would like to go, and if we don't go far from our system, there's still places we haven't seen that we know about and could be really fun. Like the one that a lot of people harped on about is Old Chicago. It's mentioned to be a swampy ruin now, and it's different. Yeah, we kind of have it easy, and we also have Sapphire's Throne World in parts where it's a bit swampy, which is what actually made people think it was Old Chicago at first. But we know about it. And then there's also one that I would like to see as being a British person, which is London. Golden Age London was said to have burnt down in the collapse due to the fallen captain, who then went
to join the House of Light. We know he's in the House of Light. He was mentioned in Season and Splicer. He's still alive. Obviously, we're not going to fight him. But it'd be very interesting to see him come into the story and be like, I'm so sorry to your people for what I've done. Or for Earth, there's even places that like aren't mentioned in the lore, at least to my knowledge. At least not in depth. Places like the South Pole and Australia. Or South America. We haven't gone to any of the Americas, and like South America would be great. Australia could be interesting. You could see probably like some sort of infectious stuff. Actually, I think New York is mentioned in the. I know that's not Australia. It's North America. But I just thought, yeah, we haven't been there. But I think it's meant to be like a nuclear wasteland, if I remember rightly. I don't know. But it'd be awesome to go to these new places on Earth as well, because we've gone to the Cosmodrome technically twice now, and then 3 times if you count the Plague Lands. And then the EDZ, which isn't horrifically far. Yes, it's next to the Traveller. It made sense. It was near the last city. Yeah, whatever. Why not let us go to these new places? Please. And then what I mentioned, the South Pole. I would love to go to Antarctica. It'd be really interesting to see what like happened there, if something was going on with say Braytech or some there could be a new company we don't know about that was like massive like Arctic regions on Earth. What technology could be there from the Golden Age? Because it probably wasn't actually that attacked during the collapse. I don't know, it's just something that my brain wants to go see. Right, I'm going to try and blitz through the last little bit for this next section. But I'm sure we haven't been to Pluto. Apparently there's Vex there. And they were to have fought against Rasputin, which would be quite a cool thing to see the aftermath of. See if they were wiped out. If not, or what have they done since? What are they doing with him and like his body or whatever architecture is left of him? And then another one that's been mentioned. It was mentioned before just before Shadowkeep, or meant to have taken place before Shadowkeep. Eris and the Queen Mother herself went to, funny enough, the dwarf planet Eris, which, yeah, it's quite interesting that we have a dwarf planet just outside of Pluto called Eris, and we have a character. But they went there, and they were trying to study this pyramid ship. And if we had a story where we're like trying to figure out how pyramid ships work, how we can utilize them or destroy them or use their power, why can't we go there? Unless this is, I can't remember off the top of my head, this might have also been the place where Mara sort of allegedly destroyed one, if she did. It's hard lore, I can't remember off the top of my head. If that's the case, then we're going to have to go somewhere else. We have Rogues, we have other ones, we have the one in the moon. Though I don't think we'll mess with Nezarex. But it could be a place we go if it isn't the place that Marasov destroyed it. It'd be a really good place to learn stuff. Yeah, they're trying to get past the Lightning Dark, but they clearly want to go back to pyramid ships or other stuff. Why can't we go there next? Sort of way
Okay,
to,
now moving on to
thank God, the
kind of
final little bit.
make your clan
And
and
also
also
like
run a little bit
have
long.
some sort of clan finder.
This bit's gonna run a little bit long as well, but not as long.
Kind of like the
anyway,
like guild finding
this
system that is in WoW.
Probably being the short
Something like that.
Also, sorry, I sound a bit different. I've just come back from being out for the day
to do that
come back
somewhat
to
well.
the video.
They've actually did,
But
like I said,
onto the more gameplay
oriental stuff in game, and I believe this would be not that far off that.
Been mentioned and tossed around.
Obviously, if we end up getting
and a little bit
the
of it
ability
is just
to
stuff
do
that's
the
on my mind
stuff
that I
have
would
like
see
central
and
plan
possibly have whatever you
change
want to call
Destiny
it.
for the whole.
I don't expect full
We're gonna start with something
customization.
that
I know
customization. It's not a
other
single
people's
player
well,
game. It's not,
and as actually
the
for
main
main
focus
focus
Destiny
Rising, you might know where I'm
either,
going with this.
I know you can. I
that
think
would
we can get that a
be
bit more in like Destiny
stuff
Rising.
like
But I honestly just
clan
can't
central
central
hub.
Let's say like
I know
8
people
presets
at
or
Massive
something,
speak about this
and
quite a
then
bit
like
in
your
his
clan
videos
banners everywhere.
And then
I don't know.
going on
that
that,
do.
I would
That'd be
like to
great.
see
It's
something
just something
that
that
is
is
also
also
mentioned
mentioned
of
of
maybe
a
the better sort of way to
how many people are in a clan. I think it's at 50
kind
currently.
of like
We could
make
maybe
your
go to like
clan
75
and also like
or something like that. Have
maybe
some sort of
100.
clan finder. That'd be insane.
This
But
would be
it'd be nice. And then with
kind
kind
of
of
like
like the
possibly then get like
clan events,
guild
guild finding
finding
system that is in
more stuff
WoW.
to do instead of
Or
just
something like that.
the
But
bounty.
get put their own spin on it. Like,
It's not even bounties,
believe
it's
it's
just
to
whatever
do
anything we
that
get from
somewhat well.
well.
They've
Core
actually
forms
did
are
a
doing okay
thing
job
on
with
the
that.
LFG. That's a great little start. It really was. But it's in game, and I believe this would be not that far off. And then I don't know.
Obviously,
it could
if
also
we
end
end
up
up
getting
getting
a place to hold
the
instead of
ability
having
to do
every
all
event
this
being
stuff,
how
like
you
having
hold events
central
at
clan hub.
that
I
they
like
might call it in game. Or if
I
they
don't
want just
expect
clan
full
related
customization.
customization. It's not a single player game. It's not the main focus of Destiny.
either I know you can. I think you can get that a bit more in like Destiny Rising, but I honestly just kind of expect like, let's say like 8 presets or something, and then like your clan banners everywhere. I don't mind. That'd do. That'd be great. It's just something we can hold a clan. Maybe this means we also get an increase in how many people are in a clan. I think it's at 50 currently. What we could maybe go to like 75 or something like that, or maybe 100. That'd be insane, but it'd be nice. And then with this, we could possibly then get like clan events, which would allow for like more stuff to do instead of just like having the bounty. Well, it's not even bounties, is it? It's just whatever any clan you get off of Hawthorne for doing a thing in the clan. That's a great little start. It really was, but it's not much. And then I don't know. It could also be seen as a place to hold, instead of having every event be in tower. You could hold events there that are like in game, or if they want just clan related events. This next point I'm going
like,
for is kind of something I mentioned earlier on. Want to go for weapons.
It's to do with like,
but like honestly, having D3 would be to go for weapons. A chance to having a fresh start. Like, but like clean. Honestly, having D3 like would be a chance to having a fresh start. Just clean slate on our. Maybe bring back some. Like have the community vote on stuff like that. But we get that in a second. Maybe bring back some. But like have the community vote. If you're a long time stuff like that. But even a second. Like I said earlier, you might have like. If you're a long time the same god roll, even a current player, and you're not going to go, you might have like hunting for something. 5 weapons with the same god roll. Doing this would allow for us to go bother walk back the pattern creep at some that point. Legendary weapons and other stuff. Doing this would allow for us to would allow for us to have a reason to go legendary weapons and other stuff. We don't have it. 2, I honestly do believe that sunsetting have a reason to go hunt for stuff again, because we don't know what's a good thing. It causes us to go. I honestly do believe that sunsetting, as painful as it was, at least kind of was a good thing. It causes us to go. It should stay. Find new leaders. From Beyond Light, at least for the sake of basically get armor in Beyond Light. It should because sunsetting didn't last a year. Beyond Light, your armor from there didn't get sunset. You could basically get armor in Beyond Light. So you would have sunsetting didn't even last a year, and then you could have that armor from there didn't get sunset. Was it? So you would have that, and then you could have that armor up until was it Renegades when they changed the armor stats. I think then you had to go get new armor. That's Renegades when they changed the armor. A really long time to have. Then you had to go get new armor. Admittedly, there was stuff like a really long time to have the same Master Dungeon armor. Admittedly, there was stuff like your reason to go grind new stuff. But basically, it was stuff like Azolics. Once you got something with reason to go like grind new stuff. 60 stat roll. Basically, it was stuff like Azolics. Once you got something with there wasn't much of a reason to change 60 stat roll in other than like if they really there wasn't much of a reason to change that. Which other than resilience, I think for Titan there wasn't really the buff that's a change. So which this would be a great resilience, I think for Titan. And what I was going to say about with the exotics is so this would be a great start for that. I would love to see. And what I was going to say about with the exotics is no. Honestly, I would love to see. But I understand some people are going to get fresh slate. Some people like stuff. No, and also it's easier for Bungie. But I understand some people are going to get exotic new laws that happen. And also, it's new ideas Bungie if they don't have to try and come up with new new laws that happen. Like they were in D. New ideas. D1, D2, where it has stuff like. So I'd expect some to Mighty Multi-Tool, like they were in D. From last word a little bit later. Stuff like Mighty Multi-Tools, but like stuff did come back. Last word a little bit later. Borealis, yeah. There was other examples, but like stuff did come back. But I'd love to see like Borealis, yeah. Bungie maybe do some sort of like. But I'd love to see community polling or Bungie maybe do some sort of clause of it where it's like you can't have a community polling or like questions, raids, dungeons, or it's like you can't have a dungeon for raids or for example if you raids, dungeons, wanted something like missions come back, you could vote on it. Or like for example if you asked for it to be brought back and it wanted something like Sunshot, you could vote on it and there'd be like some stuff like Leviathan's Breath is Nadi's burden with the Horde. There'd be like some stuff like Leviathan's Breath is Nadi's burden with the Horde. It's not he just like that's just off the you're not but be in that category. Stuff that's just obscenely broken would be in that category. Wouldn't come back. But like stuff that's just obscenely broken. 2 years at minimum of this stuff's not allowed to come back. That could be like. But we can 2 years on certain minimum of this stuff's not allowed to come back. Let's say for whatever reason you wanted Thorn, we can hold on certain things. Like sometimes that is the let's say for whatever reason you wanted Thorn and that's what PvP crab map. Like I don't want those back. I want the that on Chaperone. I know I'd vote for Chaperone. The PvP crab map. I'd also probably want those back. Cloud Strike that or Chaperone. I know I'd vote for Chaperone. Too strong to be. I'd also probably because it would cause Cloud Strike to be probably be thrown insane off the bat. Too strong to be back because it would cause the power creep to be insane off the bat. and we don't want that.
Self-res.
Right,
I don't know what's going on with this section. It doesn't seem to
got
want to
replaced
save.
with.
So I'm getting a bit annoyed because this is another
Whatever
time
the sword,
I can't remember it. Like
but
the one where you throw swords.
We're gonna try to split it down.
Really, like, no one uses it.
Maybe it, like,
But
saves
it was
itself in
fun
recording.
to have something different.
This
And
could
not
be an
self-res.
amazing time for us to get new subclasses and switch up
so
how
great
the
to
strong
get
they
that
are
sort of
and
stuff
whatever
that's
is
related
and
to them.
have breath
Like,
of fresh air from it.
I'd actually be surprised if Bungie came out and said they didn't wish that they could make raids without the thought of well resisting or whatever stuff like that, or like the strength of radiance with gunslinger and other stuff related in the game, like Tether, maybe Thunder Crash. Once again, this is just be a time like they did with D1 going D2, where they could get rid of the ones they don't want. They can rework some that they do want. Like, look at like Warlock. We lost self res going into D2, but it got replaced with whatever the sword. I can't remember it. Like the one where you throw swords. Really, like no one uses it, but it was fun to have something different and not self res. And I don't know, it'd be so great to get that sort of stuff to come back and have a breath of fresh air from it. Some of these going from like Destiny 1 and D2 actually got buffs. Look at like Titan for Striker. Back in D1 that'd be Fist of Havoc, and it generally just didn't do anything. It was like what? Well, it was good. It could shut down everything, but it was like once. You got one charge. Now you have multiple users of it in one go, which is fun. It makes it a lot more like interesting. And then you also look at stuff like Shoulder Charge. That is a one shot and be instantly basically recharged back in D1. And now it doesn't do that. It's like a, what was it, 50% HP, something like that. That's great. They can make changes like that again all they want.
Like the
Now
trials
finally
going
moving on to my last
like
2
how it
points
affected
of the video.
the last game.
You want to start off
Because
with saying
D1 they also did
about
bounties,
the
D2
cosmetic side of
else,
stuff
I don't
and
know.
like how people
But
are going to react.
Stuff like D1
I have
emblems,
seen a lot of
anything you
people,
pay for
including
like
pre-orders, obviously, like I
say
said,
that they are
I would like
actually
to see
now
those
like,
carry over.
funny
Stuff
stuff
like
they
so
are okay
full
with
of
just a
dungeons
fresh
though,
start
on the
complete.
other hand, which I
Can
am.
stay
But there is definitely stuff that I'd prefer to keep
because
if we got the choice.
will still be able to
It'd
complete
be
that
stuff
like,
like
they aren't going
the Ascent
the
the
day one
Throne
rate's
emote.
gone.
You would
because
not be able
I
to
paid
get
for
that
that
again.
game
Money,
going
maybe my
free,
pre-order
or at least not the same
bonuses, and for people that like have donated to Bungie to get an emblem, whatever, they will probably want to keep those. But stuff like Razor's Host for completing Spyro Stars, as hard as it took me and like that, I'm really proud I got it and I'm happy. It's one of my favourite emotes, I use it all the time. I am fine with not having that carry over to D2. Obviously, if Bungie choose to let us have our emotes carry over, show a bit, that's fine, that's great. But with emblems, on the other hand, a lot of people are not really going to change over there as much. Me, like, I'm very much including that as well. Like, I have my set emblems, I like to buy, like, I would like to see us just be like, okay, maybe day one emblems, possibly flawless, however Bungie feels about that and what they want to do. Relate the trials going into a new game, like how it would affect the last game. Because with D1 they also did the bounties, D2 it could be something else, I don't know. But stuff like D1 emblems, anything you paid for, like pre-orders, obviously, like I said, I would like to see those carry over. Stuff like solo flawless dungeons, though, on the other hand, can stay only in D2 in my mind because you will still be able to complete them. Like, they aren't going anywhere. A D1 rate's gone. You will not be able to get that again going into D3, or at least not the same one. And finally, a point that I think is very important, and this is my last point for the video. Honestly, going into D3 just allows for us to have a clean slate where it comes to stuff like people's bad connotations to the game. I know when I look back at Destiny 2, I'm like, as much as I love the game, it still feels rough to play because I know there's content gone. That there's content I won't be able to see again at this rate. But with D3, I can look and go like, well, there's content gone from Destiny 2, but that's not the game I'm playing. Hopefully here, the content will not go. And I'd like to think that Bungie has learned from that, and they will not remove content now. And if they do, they need to make it very clear from the get-go that that content isn't permanent. If it's stuff like events, I kind of understand that already, but if it's going to be stuff like they promote seasons in a sense, like, okay, let us know from the get-go that content is not. And make a very clear like split of what will be permanent and what's not. Do not just randomly take away our gameplay that I have paid for. Like, it's horrible losing a DLC. I've paid for that stuff. The loot, yeah, fair enough. But I paid for the DLC. Why is it gone? Why is it no longer playable for me? I've paid for all DLCs. I paid for base game. There's no base game in this game anymore. What the fuck? That's so weird.
And that is deserving of me swearing, because it is honestly appalling that it's not back. Or something related to it. I know the story's not really there now, and they really won't be like, oh, but we don't want to bring back stuff from the Light and Dark saga at this point. Well, it's still Destiny 2. If you wanted to move on from Light and Dark saga, it should have been D3. I honestly believe the episode should have been the end of D2. That would have been a great send off. Like, especially Heresy. Like, leave it on Heresy, get D3's out. Edge of Fate is D3. Or something like that. But Bungie's done what they've done, and we just have to figure out what we can do going forward. Alright, that is the end of the video. I am so grateful for all of you that have stopped by today, and especially if you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much. I would love to see what you actually think and what your opinions on this sort of stuff are and what you would like to see happen. So please do comment down below. I will be reading all the comments related to this, and also, like, just if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It means a lot. It really supports me. It lets me know that you like this sort of content, and also there is other content that you can see that will be coming out. So I'm gonna leave you all here. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.